there, Ricky! You're listening to the Well, Hey There, Ricky podcast. Now here's your host, Bip Henderson. Hello, this is Bip Henderson, and I'm here today with David Liebe Hart. Fans of the Tim and Eric Awesome Show, great job, will recognize David, as will fans of the show Check It Out with Dr. Steve Brule. What was it like working on the Tim and Eric Awesome Show?
Tim and Eric were very talented, wonderful, creative, spontaneous people to work with. They were outstanding, good, creative comedians, and they also direct and produce a lot of rock videos and people's commercials. They they're the most brilliant, talented producers and actors and comedians I have the pleasure to work with, and I love them both dearly.
What was it like working with John C. Reilly?
Oh, he's very talented. He keeps me laughing. Him and Zach Zalbanakis are very naturally funny, talented comedians. He's friends of Robert De Niro, who's in the Christian Science Circle. I never met him. I'd love to meet him. I'd love to do movies with him. I also would love to meet Val Kilmer. Val Kilmer is Christian Science like I am.
What do you prefer, acting or performing music?
I love them both. I took acting at Goodman Theater. My parents paid for me to take acting when I was growing up in the 50s. In fact, Marjorie Lord, who was the wife on the Danny Thomas show, was a talent scout, and she saw me doing a play called Porky and Bess way back in 1960. And she and Danny Thomas paid my way to with my parents and my two sisters to go to California on the Southwest Chief, and they're coming to. I read for the Andy Griffith Show. That was a spinoff from Make Room for Danny, the Danny Thomas Show, and I was supposed to get the part on the the Andy Griffith Show, which was a spinoff from the Danny Thomas Show. Danny Thomas went to Mayberry and he got arrested by Andy Griffith, and then the Andy Griffith Show started from that, and I was supposed to be on the Andy Griffith Show. But my parents, after I got the part, my parents didn't want me to break into show business at a young age, so they kept the money and unfortunately didn't have me go there to be on the show, which was sad.
When did you start playing music?
Oh, wow. I started doing music at the Christian Science Church. I had a Sunday school teacher named Kathy Case and Zephyra, who taught me how to play the Christian Science hymns. And then I started from there writing religious songs way back in the 60s and the 70s when I was a young boy. And I started writing love songs and rock and roll and top 40 hits after that. I was influenced by, they had a radio station in Chicago called WLS that played a mixture of country, western, rock and roll, and rhythm and blues and soul music. And I started, I took music theory and piano, I went to, I started, my parents paid for me to take music and piano lessons from a Miss Waller and a Kathy Case and a other woman, Zephyra, who was an organist at the 8th Church of Christ Scientists in Chicago, Illinois. Kathy Case taught me how to play piano, who was a Sunday school teacher at First Church of Christ Scientists in Park Forest, Illinois.
What popular artist influenced your music?
I like Jim Croce. He's from Pennsylvania, like my dad's side of the family's from. I liked Three Dog Night. I liked the Monkees. I liked the Spinners, the Fifth Dimension, James Brown, the Beatles, Led Zeppelin. I had my own rock and roll band called the David Liebe Hart Band. If you could type it in, I wrote a song called Better Media about going to Richie's High School and how I like the Chicago better than living in the suburban areas of Park Forest.
It's interesting to me that you were inspired by rock and roll, even though that you were from a Christian Science background.
Yeah, well, there were some famous Christian Science rock and roll musicians. In fact, Jim Morrison's mother wrote two hymns in the Christian Science hymnal, which I put to my own contemporary music. We lift our hearts in praise, and 179, one love, love one another. And I put both of those hymns to more modern music. If you go to Spotify and type in did Ezekiel see a UFO and or type in Christian hymns and praise. And I also have my album Astronaut and on the internet as well as uh, going to the Light album that I did with Jonah Motion.
How's the tour going?
I want to keep it positive, but I've been having some negative things happen to me on the tour. A lot of fans say they're going to show up and take me and show me around to dinner and take me to the bank, and then they don't show up at all. And so I'd like to spread the word that only people want to meet with me or get together with me solid and sincere. Because it's burning me out running across phony people. And the worst thing was on my birthday, April the 19th, a young lady that said she had a birthday the same day I do. I had a terrible toothache. She said she was going to take me out to lunch and also take me to her one of her friends that was a dentist, and she never ever showed up. And then at the last moment, she said it was too far to drive. If she wasn't going to take me in the first place, she should have just been up front with me. I'm in Albuquerque, New Mexico. Two guys that agreed to drive me never ever showed up this morning. Had me to sit in the lobby. Then they had me to come to their house, and they gave me an address where I walked 3 miles to where they really didn't live. So I've just been running across unbelievably mean people, and I met a lot of nice fans too that care about me. And then the double whammy is the phony, cruel black women I've been meeting on the trip. They say they don't have no money to get in, so I let them in. And then when I'm going to go on the stage, they walk out. And then one black girl said, "Oh, can I have a free picture? I don't got no money." I give her a free picture, and then she goes to the bar and buys all kinds of whiskey. And I want to stay positive. I'm grateful for the good fans I have that care about me, like you and Jonah Motion. But I just want people that are positive and supportive of me. And I like this to be thing because this is a labor of love to tour all over the United States to make my fans happy. And I don't have any sponsorship. Many times, me and Jonah take the money that we made and put it back in for gas, yeah, just to make our fans happy. So I do need to give them the uttermost respect. And if someone feels they're not going to treat me right and they have bad vibes or they got up on the wrong side of bed, please don't even come to my concert. Please don't even come and see me if you're not going to be supportive of me or kind to me, because I don't have time for people that want to play games. I'm facing the same thing dating. I've been single for a long time. I tried Tinder and I tried eHarmony, a well-known weather woman said she was going to meet me in Atlanta, Georgia, and she called me back on my phone. I sat at a barbecue restaurant. She never ever showed up, and she said, "Oh, I just like to lead guys of my own black race on, and play them. I don't have time for people that are unprofessional." I met Prince in person, and I met Michael Jackson and other people at the ASCAP meetings, and the entertainers. It's lonely at the top. There's a lot of people that are not respectful or kind to entertainers like they should be. I know there's a lot of entertainers. I'm grateful for the fans that do love me and care about me and are in my corner and do come to the show and that are sincere and have been wonderful supportive of me and call me. And I want to thank all the fans that wished me a wonderful birthday, even though I had a horrible one. That I'm already being African American. I'm already facing challenges of racism and unfairness, and then to have one or two of or three fans flake out on me, it's just not right. But I've had this problem over and over again with eHarmony, with Cupid, and the different dating services with women as well. And life is too short to have it wasted on people that are not sincere.
Could you please elaborate on the racism you've faced?
Well, and then I'm already facing over my share of racism and unfairness in our society. They don't want to. My own church is not letting minority people have music in the published music or accept music in the Christian Science reading room that are African American and Hispanic and Asians. And Watchfire Music has really discriminated against me. I took my music to them and they told my music producer not to even have me call back, which I thought was rude. I want to be positive, but the reality is, they have a saying in Christian Science: error uncovered, evil uncovered is 2/3 destroyed. You can't say you don't have a problem when you do. It's got to be brought to surface for healing. And I love my fans. I want to thank all the fans that have supported me and come to the shows and brought me gifts. And I right now, because a lot of people have wanted to give me all kinds of dolls they made of me and clothes they made of me. It needs to be mailed to me because I already got in trouble for having too much in my apartment. And I had to move a lot of stuff to storage. I now have 3 storages, and I don't have time. And the people don't understand, I don't have time to go through my storage because I'm constantly touring with Jonah. I'm constantly doing work on and off with Tim and Eric, and it's hard to get to things. And I'm not married, and I don't have a wife or a spouse to be there to support me. It's just me and God, so it's a challenge.
There was a beautiful girl I know. I saw her right in this building. She was a musician like me. I gave her one of my CDs, helped her let her use my phone. Now she plays like I'm dirt on her feet. She said she didn't want to be bothered with me in the parking lot. She said she's too good for me. She says she only wants to meet rich guys that are big and muscles. She doesn't want to date a skinny Bugs Bunny like me. She thinks she's too good for me. But I'm gonna meet somebody better. Just because you have a beautiful body doesn't mean you have a beautiful attitude. I'm gonna find a woman that's gonna appreciate me and to have gratitude. Just because you are a beautiful woman, you have a stuck-up attitude. I'm gonna find a woman that appreciates me, that has true love and gratitude. That's okay. You don't want me? I'll find someone better. There's other fish in the sea. They're gonna love being with me. That's okay. Give me the brush off. I'll find someone else. I'll find someone that'll value the gold that I am, the good I have to give. I tell you, you girls want guys that abuse you. You don't want men that really love you and are true to you. Why don't you value someone that wants to be with you? Why are you so stuck up? I'm gonna meet someone better. I'd rather be alone than be someone that doesn't want me. Just because you have a beautiful body doesn't mean you have a beautiful attitude. I'm gonna find a woman that's gonna appreciate me and to have gratitude. Just because you are a beautiful woman, you have a stuck-up attitude. I'm gonna find a woman that appreciates me, that has true love and gratitude. That's okay. Be like that. Be like that. That's okay. I'll find a woman that will want to be with me anyway. That's okay. That's fine. I'll meet a lady that wants to be with me down the line. I can be happy by myself. I got my hobbies. I'll persevere, and someday I'll meet someone that'll say yes to me. That's a dear. I'm gonna meet someone that loves me for who I am, not what I look like, not what I have. Someone that's gonna be a beautiful woman in my path. Don't speak to me. That's okay. I'll find a woman that wants to come my way. I don't need someone that's gonna treat me like doo-doo. I need someone that's gonna love me true and true. You think you're too good for me because you have an attractive body. But I'm gonna find someone that's gonna love me with their true love and personality. You think you're too good for me because you have an attractive body. But I'm gonna find someone that's gonna love me with their true love and personality. A beautiful body doesn't mean anything if a beautiful woman's not inside of you.
That was the song Love and Gratitude off the album Astronaut. I read that you worked with Robin Williams. Is that correct?
Yes, I did. I worked with Robin Williams way back in the 70s. I met Robin Williams at Fifth Church of Christ Scientists when he used to be a student of Christian Science. Later in his life, he left Christian Science and joined the Episcopalian Church. And he just started getting involved with the wrong circles of people. He's a very talented, brilliant comedian. I was very lucky to work with him. Just like I toured everywhere with Jonah Motion, I toured everywhere with Tim and Eric in the past. I toured at different comedy nightclubs with Robin Williams, Improvisation, and the Laugh Factory, and the Comedy Store. And I saw him get a break when Gary Marshall said, I want to help out Robin Williams, but not his staffy duck partner, David Liebe Hart. That's what Gary Marshall said. And then Gary Marshall said if I did the warm-ups for the shows, he would cast me in as a regular actor. It never happened. And I did warm-ups and for the Paramount Studios every Tuesday. I did intern work, warm-ups before the shows began. They gave me some comedy lines to say and some songs to do and play and sing.
Could you tell our listeners about your friendship with James Quall?
I helped James Quall get on the Tim and Eric Awesome Show. Great job. He did my junior Christian Science Bible lesson show, which was changed to junior teaching Bible lesson program that ran from 2008. We ran correction. It started in 1988. And then the city of Los Angeles got rid of public access in 2008. And James Quall came on the show and started in 1999. And then he followed to the end of the show in 2008. He's a very talented comedian. I love him dearly, but he's going through some rough challenges right now. People need to keep him in prayer. They need to pray that he gets clothed in his rightful mind and he gets around more positive people. He married a very bad wife that has brought him down.
What was it like working on the television series Wings?
It was great. Working on Wings, it was a great show. I played a detective on there trying to find Faye's husband.
Did you get to hang out with Steven Weber or any of the other stars of the show?
I did. We had lunch together. They had me to read the script with the two guys that played on the show. Then they had me to answer the phone and stuff and help find Faye's husband. But unfortunately, when I bought the DVD, they had cut my part out, which was very upsetting.
You were also on The Golden Girls. What was it like acting in that series?
Yeah, I was on Golden Girls. I played a school teacher on there. I played a police officer on there too. And then when the Golden Girls, when Beatrice Arthur quit the last season, I worked as a bellman for the hotel that they were staying in. It was a pleasure working with Ruth McClanahan. She was very talented, and so was Betty White. I wrote a song about her. That's how much I liked her.
Can you please tell me more about your song Salome?
Yeah, I wrote that song. It inspired me when I met Jezidel Ardias at La Brea Tar Pits. And when she said goodbye, she said, Salome, vahe lute eno no tu near, which means go into the light till next we meet. You can also find a lot of language about the Corinthians on the internet. If you go to Bob Renown's website, she was an extraterrestrial woman from Star Corridor. She was an elder master. Her name was Jezidel Ardias. Her last name was from the country she came from. And she was a brilliant woman. She looked like Wonder Woman, Linda Carter, in a silver space outfit. And then she looked also a lot like Betty Page, had her hair in that old style. And she was just, when she said goodbye, she said, go into the light till next we meet. And she said, Salome. She says that's what the Palladians and the Corinthians telepathically send to each other when their spaceships cross or when they say goodbye to one another.
Can you tell me more about the Corinthians?
The Corinthians is an extraterrestrial race that's given our government a lot of back engineering technology. In fact, the books of the Bible, they took out the pseudepigrapher of the Bible that talked about how extraterrestrials taught a lot of the prophets in the Bible. They don't, the Chariot of the Gods, Mr. Donovan, found out that Buddhists, all walks of life, had visitations from extraterrestrials that the Bible called angels. And the Holy Scriptures that the Jewish synagogue only uses the Old Testament, and and the book of Maccabees, and they had visitations from extraterrestrials. So Ezekiel that saw the will within a will.
Please tell me about the aliens' philosophy.
All the extraterrestrials believe in reincarnation. The Palladians, Corinthians, Omegans, Venusians, Articulars, all believe in reincarnation. They've told me that if you don't work out your problems in this life, you're going to have to work them out in the next plane. If you don't understand, overcome stuff in this world, you're recycled like a bottle into another human form on another planet or another dimension. Also, a lot of things travel through the shooting stars. A lot of seeds and matter travels from the shooting stars. And planet Earth used to be like a moon. It had no life on it. And when it got hit by several stars, it created an atmosphere, and plants and vegetation started growing on Earth.
Did the Corinthians ever visit you?
I was visited by the Corinthians many times, but they stopped visiting me. My grandmother, Wright Schroeder, told me on her deathbed that, and she was related to the Wright brothers that were Presbyterian ministers that were from Ohio, said that the Wright brothers and someone from France that they gave the idea earlier of the airplane were visited by Corinthians to help build the back engineering for the airplane. They taught Tesla, they taught Werner von Braun, who was a scientist from Germany that came over during World War II and gave when he was living, he gave a lot of back engineering technology to our military and to our army and to our and the B-2 bomber. He had a lot to build with the advanced stuff that the military is using, anti-gravity.
What was it like when the Corinthians visited you?
Well, they don't come to me anymore, but when they first came to me back in the 80s, I met Jezebel Ordias, was the first Corinthian I met. I met her at La Brea Tar Pits, and it's a park in Los Angeles where they have preserved the tar pits where the dinosaurs and the mammals have fallen in there and couldn't come out. I also, they banned me and other busters and musicians from being there. So huge African-American guy of my own race came at me and told me, we don't allow this use profanity stuff to go on anymore. And then I didn't believe him after I showed my permit. And then the white administrator came out and said that it's not allowed. And then when I called up the county said that the La Brea Tar Pits was privately owned by an entity in San Diego. And so a guy named Dick Kintro, who was a Marine, they're not supposed to stop veterans from being vendors. And my friend Michael Boyd, who's an ex-Navy friend of mine, was harassed and stopped in Atlanta, Georgia. And he became, for a while, completely homeless. And I had to send him money until he could get help from the VA. And now they gave him an apartment. And because of all this confusion, he also went through a divorce. So I feel that we're losing our freedom of speech and I feel it's very cowardly for any city or county property to obstruct people from making an honest living. I think if they would let people be creative and make an honest living, even if it's a street musician selling their goods, it should be respected. And that would, less people would be on welfare or general relief if they could have the freedom to express their own God-given talents. I respect a person that wants to work for a living than someone that just wants to ask for a handout. They have an old German saying, "I'm part German and you look German." It's good to teach a man how to fish than to keep on giving a man fish.
Are the Corinthians religious?
Yes, they are. Some of them are, and some of them aren't. Jesus says, "I have sheep that are not of this fold." And when I was speaking to Jezebel and Elder Master Latan, Jesus came into another form to their understanding, in a form that they could understand him. And he taught people the structure of the Bible that he taught here on earth, salvation, to live right and do right. He also visited Star Caladan, where the Omegans come from, and taught them salvation and a form of a Bible and the Ten Commandments. So the Jesus said, "I have sheep that are not of this fold." That he means that he was visiting. God brought him in a different forms to visit other people and other frequencies and other life forms to teach them salvation and right from wrong. And there is a God. Jonah, when we were touring, was playing about the Satanists, and they don't believe in God, but there is a God. There is a power that's greater than we are, and it's something. And for somebody to say there's no God, it's like to say that there's no life. God is in everything. He made everything. And I like the principles that Christianity teaches, the morals, the family values, and to structure your life and live right. And a lot of atheists make down Christianity. I know there's a lot of phony people and a lot of wars that have been made over religion, but there's a lot of good that organized religion does, with different charity organizations to help the less fortunate and the homeless. And people forget about that.
Did you ever meet any other aliens?
There was a race that abducted me when my parents moved to Park Forest, Illinois in 1968. And I was operated on. I don't know what race they were, but they looked like midget Asian people. And they spoke to me telepathically like the Corinthians. They cut into my skin and put everything in different test tubes, my blood, samples of my hair, and my tissues to test it. And they shot a tube up my nose. And then from that problem, I've been having a terror. When it gets too cold, my nose just starts bleeding. And so, Jonah likes to turn the air conditioner on in the car, and it hurts my nose. And I was gone for 2 weeks. My mother thought I went to my grandmother's house in Chicago, because I'd always take the Illinois Central, the IC, the Metro, I call it now Metro Electric, back and forth from Park Forest, Illinois to Chicago.
What did the Corinthians look like?
They're a regular human form, look identical to you or me. They're called the humanoids. There's some extraterrestrials that are called the humanoids because they look identical to humans. You got your Omegans and you got your Palladians. They look identical to a regular Caucasian. And then you have your black aliens that are from Sirius B that look identical to an African American or an African or Jamaican.
Is there another alien tribe?
That's the Omegans from Star Caladan. The Irish are a descendant of the Omegans. The Welsh, Scottish are descendants of the Irish that speak Celtic. They come from Star Caladan, but unfortunately, what breaks my heart is they have had a 200-year war with the Corinthians over space territory. They're both very talented races and outstanding, wonderful races, but it breaks my heart that they have not been able to overcome war. The only race that's been able to overcome war are the Palladians, and they visited a guy in Switzerland. He faced a lot. His wife left him because he was constantly being visited by the Palladians.
Michael likes to smoke his weed better than eating crackers and cheese. Michael likes to smoke his weed better than women that are Vietnamese. Michael and Adam are beginner roommates. He smokes his weed every day like a steam engine, puffing and smoking into the air, high and low. Michael feels so happy when he smokes his weed. I don't know how it makes him feel so good. I never take any drugs because I like to stay sober. But Michael wants to be high. It makes him feel fine. He's always a happy guy. Michael likes to smoke his weed better than eating crackers and cheese. Michael likes to smoke his weed better than women that are Vietnamese. I never see him get upset like Adam Pop again, because he smokes again and again. He's happy, happy, happy man. Michael stoned all the time. Michael likes to smoke his weed better than watching Vietnamese girls. Michael likes to smoke his weed. It brightens every lonely world. Michael likes to smoke his weed. It makes him float on a breeze. Michael likes to smoke his weed. Feels that it puts him at ease. Michael's stoned all the time. He smokes his weed every day. Michael likes to smoke his weed better than eating crackers and cheese. Michael likes to smoke his weed better than women that are Vietnamese. Michael likes to smoke his weed better than eating crackers and cheese. Michael likes to smoke his weed. It makes him happy, can't you see?
That was David Liebe Hart singing Michael Likes to Smoke His Weed off of the album Go Into the Light. Can you tell our listeners what inspired you to write that song?
Okay, what the song that inspired me to write the song, Michael Likes to Smoke His Weed, is I was in a punk rock band with a very talented guy that he did some things I didn't like, but on the other hand, he was very talented guitarist and musician, but he just I pray that he gets led in the right way. Adam Papagan smoked a lot of weed with his roommate, Michael. And the smoke was so bad in the room that you couldn't even see. When you opened up the door, you saw a big cloud of smoke. It was just really bad. And they smoke weed all the time, so I wrote a song about it. I've had several versions made of it because Adam didn't want me to use the version I did with him. Jonah made a new music arrangement to it. Adam Papagan was the lead guitarist in there, and because he couldn't play my songs exactly the way I wrote them, we ended up using his creation of his melodies with a lot of my songs. He was we just had differences, you know. I was trying to set an example for him as a dad, and he was too rebellious, and we just went different ways. And he was like my sister. My sister and him did something that I have to do a lot of forgiveness about, like Mary Bickert. He says, I have to wait and love more forever, hate and fear. He unforged my writing with Evil Records and Burger Records. And I felt that my sister did the same thing, and selling my mother's home behind my back in Park Forest, Illinois. And they have a saying in Christian Science, honesty is spiritual power. And then I know his intentions were right, and Adam Papagan did the best of his understanding, but he didn't mail the fans their T-shirts and CDs that they ordered and they wanted. And I had to either reimburse people their money, or I had like 10 copies of the watches and the CDs I had from my own collection. I ended up having to send them to the fans that never got their stuff. And then when I was out of merchandise, I had to reimburse them their money back. And I must have reimbursed some, and then they told me that if I didn't reimburse their money back, the internet said that they wouldn't let me put up any websites.
What inspires your songwriting?
Oh, all kinds of things. Ex-girlfriends that dumped me for their pastor, or other men. The UFO experience I've experienced.
You also knew Michael Jackson and Prince?
Yes, I've found out on my mother's side I was distantly related to Michael Jackson. They were Jehovah Witness. Also, Prince was Jehovah Witness. Also, the Jackson Five were Jehovah Witness. I it's tragic what happened to Michael Jackson, that the doctors gave him the wrong medicine, which was his demise. And I think the same thing could have happened to Prince. I met Prince at an ASCAP meeting. They would have the ASCAP meetings at the Kodak Theater. And before, they had him at the Hilton Hotel in Beverly Hills. And and then I met him again last year at the ASCAP meeting. And I said, uh, I got busy touring and everything. And I said, Prince, I gave Prince a copy of one of my CDs. And he said he was going to help me with my career, and he was going to help me and Jonah Motion out. And I was going to meet with him at the Jehovah Witness Kingdom Hall and Marina Del Rey on the when I came back in town, but it looks like it's not going to happen because he died. He was going to help me out here. He was going to help me. He when I gave him a year ago the astronaut CD when I was at an ASCAP meeting, and he really liked it. And he says, "You and Jonah both have very good talents that I'd be happy to help record and help you get even probably to go on tour with me and my crew." But I didn't tell Jonah about this, and but because I want, in Christian Science it says if you seek in secret, then your heavenly Father will reward you openly. And I was trying to be quiet about it because so it could be a perfect unfold. But even though I was quiet about it, it didn't unfold. It didn't work out because now Prince is dead. Prince told me he also had problems meeting girls after he lost his wife. And then his wife he used to be married to passed on, and now I heard his kid passed on, which was really sad. And then he never met anybody. He had problems meeting girls and being stood up on dates too. The same thing what breaks my heart, I love Whitney Houston. She was the most outstanding, talented Black woman, and I wrote a song about her and John Cornelius, and to see that the tragedy of her demise, and then hear recently that her daughter died. And then I was friends with Natalie King Cole, and she performed at the Hollywood Bowl, and I met her at the when I was doing Christmas decorations at the in Malibu when I used to play a real estate company, and she wanted to have me do some paintings for her. And then last year I heard that she passed on, and her phone number was disconnected. She gave me.
Do you have any plans in the pipeline?
Well, Jonah and I are doing a comic book, and he's doing a horror movie for me with the puppets. We need to get sponsorship for that. I also would like to get. I hear that Red Bull sponsors bands. I'd like to get them or some other companies to sponsor. Because we need sponsorship a lot. We have to put a lot of money that we have made in our joint account back into our gas and our travel. So I'd like to see us get a sponsor that could cover our hotel expenses and our gas, so it doesn't come out of our joint account. We really need that support. So if anybody out there would like to sponsor our journey, I'd appreciate that. I also, Joan and I are coming out with a new album will release about. I wrote a song before I met him, but he put it to new music. I hadn't had a girl since 1994, and then another song, the Ghost Frog, where when I lived in Park Forest, Illinois, I didn't feed my frogs when I went to Adventures Unlimited Christian Science Camp, and all my frogs died in my fish tank, and they came back as green ghosts and haunted me and didn't say anything. So I wrote a song about that. And then I wrote a song about that's going to be on the air. It's the Erie Lackawanna Railroad. It was a fascinating train that ran from Union Station to Chicago called the Erie Lackawanna Railroad. It shared tracks with the Pennsylvania Railroad, and it was a brilliant railroad. And my family would take it to family reunions. Since my family came on my dad's side, it was from Germantown, Tennessee, and Erie, Pennsylvania, and Pittsburgh. That's where a lot of Germans settled.
Did your father ever meet Martin Luther King Jr.?
He met Martin Luther King. We let Martin Luther King, when we lived at 8136 South Ellis in Chicago, we let the King stay with us and other civil rights leaders that were fighting for equality back in the 60s. And I saw my dad and Dr. Martin Luther King. They get bit up by German Shepherd dogs. We came back from Cicero, which is still a very racist place against African Americans and people of color, called Cicero. It is east of the south side of Chicago, where blacks for no reason get beat up and called the N-word and are mistreated very badly.
Where can we get your music?
Spotify. You can hear me on Spotify, David Liebe Hart. You can hear me on davidliebehart.bandcamp.com. You can hear me on CD Baby, David Liebe Hart. And then you can hear my old punk rock band if you Google the David Liebe Hart Band.
You're going to find Astronaut, Go Into the Light, as well as many other of David's CDs on his website, artbyliebehart.com. That's artbyliebehart.com. artbyliebehart.com. You can find all his tour dates there and also order his DVD of the Junior Christian Teachings Bible Lesson Program. All right, David, thank you so much for joining us today. Salome.
Salome to you. Go into the light till next we meet, like the Corinthians say.
Thank you again to Mr. David Liebe Hart for being our first guest. I hope you enjoyed the podcast. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you want to hear more. Make sure to tune in next week. We will be going retro with a synthwave episode. I'll leave you with one of my favorite songs off of David's CD Astronaut. It's called I Eat My Veggies.
I eat my veggies. Veggies are good. I eat my veggies just like I should. I like vegetables. They are incredible. They're filled with vitamins. They make me feel right again. I like broccoli. They look like little trees. Carrots are delicious and very nutritious. I like celery. It has a nice crunch. It's a perfect ingredient for a healthy lunch. I like potatoes. I even like tomatoes. And a sandwich or salad. They taste really great-o. I eat my veggies every single day. I eat my veggies if it's sunny or gray. Vegetables are good for your body. They keep you healthy, not sick or snotty. I like to eat lettuce. I like to eat squash. Cucumbers are good with a little hot sauce. Do you like peas? I do. How about corn? I like to eat veggies in the night, in the morn. Do you like green like chickpeas. I eat my veggies. Veggies are good. I eat my veggies just like I should.
The extraterrestrials and my dead cousin taught me about being a vegetarian. If you want to look younger and be younger, it's good to get into eating things that are good for you. And sugar is poison, it's not good for you. And try to stay away from meat because meat is poison.
I eat my veggies every single day. I eat my veggies if it's sunny or gray.